One of the first things I teach in my mentorship programs is called an I am statement. It's a statement that helps my mentees get clear and beautifully articulate exactly what they're good at, the exact value that they bring to the organization, and the exact problems that they've solved over the course of their career. I leverage this strategy to boost my mentees' confidence, but also to help them think strategically about how they're articulating their expertise in public spaces. My mentee, Deborah, used this one powerful sentence to position herself as an expert, secure a higher level role, and a $16,000 salary increase. And so I'm inviting my mentee, Deborah, to share her story and how she used this one sentence to advance her career in a meaningful way. I think that she's in the building, so let me see if she is here. I believe that's her. Hey. Hi, Deborah.
So good to see you, too. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about your experience in the Mentor Me Accelerator. Obviously, I only have so many words in the description, so I had to put a $16,000 sentence, but you know that it's so much more than that. Your experience in the Mentor Me Accelerator was so transformative to you. So we're going to get into it today. We're going to share with those who are watching about, where you were before you joined the Mentor Me Accelerator, how you leverage the strategies that I've taught you in the accelerator to advance your career. And then, of course, this brand new, beautiful role that you just started this week. You're just wrapping up your first week in the new role. So we'll be able to talk about, the success you're finding already in this new role and really just celebrating you and your career success. So let's dive in. And I'd love for you, Deborah, to start by sharing kind of where you were in your career before you joined the Mentor Me Accelerator, right? Like everyone who's watching this who haven't been a part of my programs may be there now, right? Before you became aware of me, before you thought about mentorship, you're just out in the world living your everyday life, going, to work. Like where were you in your career before you joined?
So I was very, very early in my career. I had actually just graduated from college a year prior, or a year and some change prior. I was within my first job in the real world in career life. And I was very confused because nobody really teaches you that the first job you choose right out of college might not be the one for you. It might not perfectly align with everything you want and everything you need. But they teach you to stay in it and stick with it and build up years and years before ever even thinking about a switch. So I was feeling kind of scared and trapped and kind of enclosed in the choices that I had made. But then when I started the mentorship program with you, I think one of the first questions I asked was, would this be good for me considering how early I was in my career? I was hesitant about that as well because I didn't even know what I wanted, just because I hadn't experienced much. But you really changed my mindset. You opened my mind, made me realize that this is the perfect time to learn because I can utilize skills for the rest of my career, and it's not too early to switch, and it's never too early to go for what you want and to believe that you can achieve it so early in your career.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that your story is so interesting. I've been doing lives with mentees all week. I did one with a mentee, Tremaine, on Wednesday, a $16,000, or actually, I think hers was like a $18,000 salary increase, and she transitioned industries. I did one with Patricia, a mentee who's more of a mid-level professional. She secured a $27,000 salary increase. Today, we're doing you, and you're more of a new professional. And one of the things that I'm very clear on is that in my Mentor Me Accelerator program specifically, I'm very focused on serving new and mid-level professional women, but I typically attract mid-level professionals, right? I typically attract women who are, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years in their career, and they, been working there for 10 years too long, and they're unhappy, and they're overwhelmed, and they're fed up, right? Those are often the women that I attract. But I love serving women who are new in their industry, right? You talked about that you found me only a year and a half after you had graduated from undergrad, right? And because you are a newer professional, I think that you're right. In undergrad, you're like, put your head down, do the work. You got to pay your dues. You got to stay there at least 3 years before you leave. If you don't, you'll look flaky, like a Gen Z flake, right? There's all these messages that you're getting about, suffering and, and just sitting with it, right? And sticking it out because you know, the people who are giving you advice are taking all their career strategy from 1983, and they're not really thinking about how the world of work works today, right? And so, you know, one of the things that I'm very focused on is providing contemporary career strategy for today, for today's professionals, because the strategies of 1983 or 1996 are not going to work in 2023. And I'm so glad that, you know, you listen to your intuition, you listen to my advice to say, no, as a new professional, now is the time to get the support you need to advance your career. Don't wait until, you know, a mentee like Patricia, and I know she'd be okay with me sharing this, she was stuck in that role 10 years past the time that she should have been, right? Don't make that mistake. Get the help you need now so you can transition out of it. And so I really love that you had enough sense of self-worth, right? To like, I'm not gonna stay stuck in something that I know is not serving me beyond the time I want to be in it. So I love that, that you were committed to that. So you said that, you know, before, you know, coming to, you know, Mentor Me, before learning about my work, you were kind of like, you know, feeling stuck in the role, maybe feeling undervalued, you know, not feeling like you were contributing at the level that you wanted. Can you tell the folks who are watching how you came to learn about me and my work? Like how did you, you know, come to find me? You know, was my website, was it here on Instagram? You know, was it from someone you knew? And what made you say, you know, as you were doing your research, what made you say, you know what, I want to work with that?
I don't know who introduced me to your Instagram account, but I've been following you for, I think, like 2 years now. And I've just been liking your stuff. Every time it pops up, I'm like, yes, she is preaching again. I'm like, yes. And so when I had first realized and came to terms with, because I feel like within not liking the job, there's a huge denial phase. So when I had finally exited that denial phase and I wanted to do something about it, I just knew I had to work with you. It's such a lonely experience trying to navigate this career path, trying to navigate career life and right after college as well. And I just felt as though I needed a guide of some sort. And so I immediately hopped on the chance to, I guess, engage in this mentorship program. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like, and I've never heard anybody articulate it like that, but I think you're right, right? There's this denial phase. You know, you're unhappy at work, you get into it with your boss, you have a bad day, and you're like, oh, well, you know, it'll blow over. Oh, it's Friday. You know, it'll be better next week. Oh, this is just how this industry is. It'll, you know, I'll get over it, until one day you're like, you know what? Like, I've been saying I'm gonna get over this, or I'll wait till Monday, or hopefully next week will be better, for 4 months. Like, at some point, like, I kind of get out of this, you know, I'm unhappy here, I feel undervalued, I'm not making the kind of money I want, this organization isn't aligned with my values, and actually do something about it. And so, yeah, I think that's so beautifully articulated, that sometimes there's a denial phase, right? And it takes you connecting with a mentor, you connecting with a resource, you saying, you know what, this is not for me, I'm not going to stay stuck here, to actually make that transition. So thank you for kind of walking us through that. So, you know, one of the things that's true about mentorship, you know, and mentorship with me, like working with an expert level mentorship, is that there's an investment, right? There's an investment, you know, to work with an expert level mentor, and to really get the real strategy you need to make to make a shift in your career. So Deborah, can you talk a little bit about your decision to make that investment, right? You know, there may be people watching who are like, you know, I've never hired a career coach, or, you know, I can't afford that kind of investment, or how do I know if it'll work for me? Like, can you talk about your decision-making process when it came to investing in your career development?
Yes.
And hiring a career coach?
So the first thing that comes to mind is, and it might seem a little irrelevant, but I promise it relates. You know, when it comes to natural hair, there's a lot of searching and finding and trial and error when it comes to hair products. And there's certain custom hair brands out there, and I've gone for that, and they're way more expensive, or way more of an investment than those off the shelf, you know, trial and error ones. But the amount of time that it saves you to seek out custom help and focused in help on your issues, your problems, is invaluable. It's priceless. So I think the investment of choosing to engage in a mentorship where you will be providing me with personalized help, personalized advice, saved me years and years and years of confusion, years and years of pain and sadness and feeling stuck and normalizing all of the pain that comes with not being in a job you like. So I feel like that investment, I knew in that moment, and with how unhappy I was, how hard it was to get out of bed and go to work, I knew that that investment would pay off long term, way farther than the original investment that I would have made.
Yeah. Yeah, that is such a beautiful, you are a storyteller, Deborah. I don't think I knew this about you, but man, you tell such a beautiful story. And you all should know that I did not pay Deborah to do this testimonial. She's just really good at it. But yeah, like that's so beautiful, right? Like, yeah, you can go to CVS and buy Suave off the shelf and wash your hair with it, and your hair will look like Suave hair. Like, that's available to you. So just like the same way you can go to another career coach and buy a template for your resume, or you can have somebody do your resume, and you're going to get the Suave hair care result. Like, that's what you're going to get. But when you invest at a higher level, when you invest in expert level mentorship, when you really get support from somebody who knows what they're doing and is providing you with a customized approach to your career, it's going to save you hair follicles, edges, years of pain and suffering in your career, right? And so, yeah, I've never heard it articulated like that, but that is so thoughtfully articulated that, you know, yes, there's an investment to hire a career coach. Yes, there's an investment to get this level of support in your career, but the investment, the return on the investment is so much greater. I mean, when I think about a $16,000 salary increase, this is 3 times the investment that you make, right? 4 times the investment that you made in the Mentor Me Accelerator. The investment for the Mentor Me Accelerator is less than $3,000 at this time, the time of this recording. And Deborah got a $16,000 salary increase in less than 8 weeks. There's no better return on that investment, right? You know, so many women your age, Deborah, are looking at, you know, a bachelor's degrees, master's degrees that are 40, 50, 60, $80,000, and they're not seeing a return on that investment. And so I think that what you talk about, the level of support that you need needs to match the level of outcome that you want. And I think your experience is a beautiful articulation of that. Can you talk a little bit about you know, the relationship that you and I had in that program? You talked about the customized support. And I think sometimes when women, you know, invest in mentorship, they're like, you know, is she going to get to know me? Is it going to be personalized? You know, is it just going to be, you know, me having to come up with the questions and wondering what to do? Can you talk a little bit about, you know, how you leveraged me, how much access you had to me as a mentor?
I think it was a lot of access. And the way you go through each and every single one of our individual responses, and you will record a response back to us individually, and then in group you focus on each of us every single time, like every single person one at a time. I think that's such a beautiful way. It makes you feel like you're the only one, the only mentor that you have, but we know you have more. But you really are intentional about making sure that each of us feel heard and unique. I remember once you were giving advice to somebody else and you were like, this is specifically for this person. And you make sure to remind us of that each of our career goals are different. Each of our wants are different. And there are different ways we need to go about it and adjust our values accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is something that I am proud to say is a hallmark of Mentor Me programs, right? Like, I'm very intentional about making sure that the women that I serve are individually cared for, right? Because your unique, you know, individual experiences matter. And certainly there are career strategies that, you know, are blanket, right? They go across the chasm of career development. But when I'm talking to you about your career, I'm going to talk to you about how you should apply that strategy. The strategy is going to work because the strategy is going to work because I have a proven framework. But I'm going to talk to you about how you might apply it. And so, you know, I think that I'm so glad that you've experienced that, because that is an intentional part of the way I mentor. So let's talk about the strategy, right? Another intentional part of Mentor Me programs is the strategy. I'm teaching you week after week specific and targeted strategy to help advance your career. Can you kind of highlight, for those who might, you know, who aren't familiar with Mentor Me programs, aren't familiar with the curriculum, can you just share maybe 2 strategies that really stood out in the program that you learned that really were impactful to you, that like really made a difference in helping you find
Yes.
your new role?
So the strategy that I think most helped me is when you said something that stuck with me for a very long time, that desperation and strategy don't go together. They don't go hand in hand. And when you were specifying how one should go about the job search, you were like, this wide net strategy is not going to work. It's not what you need. You need to get specific about what you're looking for. You need to get specific of where you want to be. I think that really changed things for me because, like you say all the time, only apply to jobs that you actually want. And to be honest, that simplifies the entire process. Yeah. Like,
Yes.
because more isn't always more, less sometimes is more, and you're able to dedicate your energy and your I guess efforts towards more narrowed and specific goals, and it leads to less burnout. Before, when I was using the wide net strategy, I felt so tired and exhausted and discouraged when you're just applying to all these jobs and you don't get any of them back. But when you start to get specific about what aligns with your values, one win feels like a million of those other wins combined. And yes, and so the second strategy, which was I think the most impactful in my journey, was the I am strategy. Oh, thanks, Charlie. Was the I am. And that one I think just kicked me off. Because like I said, I was feeling very stuck prior to joining in the program, but hearing how I could articulate my skills and what I've done in the past really inspired me. And I thought, hey, I can use this to reach out to so many other jobs as well. And that's what I did. So I think those two strategies, the I am strategy, which taught me how to articulate my skills, and the narrow your job search strategy, which taught me how to not get burnt out when looking.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, I like to joke that I'm hilarious. Like, I'm very funny. And so when I approach career development, like I try to do it with like a light air. I know it can feel, like you said, very lonely, very isolating, very daunting, very overwhelming. And so I joke with my mentees in session, y'all. We have so much fun in our strategy sessions. Like, we be in there cracking up. But one of the things that I say is like, y'all, we cannot be desperate out here about these jobs. Like, these jobs are out here like these jobs are out here for everybody. They're like buses. We'll miss one, next 15, one coming. So ain't no use in us like, oh, please hire me. I hope that you consider me. Like, yes, we should be applying for jobs that are aligned with our expertise. Yes, we should be looking for opportunities that are aligned with our values. Yes, we should be, you know, speaking to our expertise in a way that makes the employer say we want her to be a part of our team. But we are not desperate, right? And when you're desperate, you'll literally do anything, which is a problem, sis. Like, that's a problem. And so, and I always say, like, I want women to come to me before you get desperate, before you cuss out your boss, before you get, you know, fired, before you know, on probation. Please find me so that I can help you with your career before you get to the point of having to take a medical leave, or, you know, and of course I serve women who are in a place of desperation. You know, if that's where you are, I'm here to help you. I help you out of that situation. But I think that your story, Deborah, is a beautiful example of like, at the moment that you recognize, oh, this ain't for me no more, that's the moment you need to schedule a call with me, not the moment after. Like, schedule a call at that moment, right? Take immediate action. My mentor tells me that, take immediate action. And I think that it's you taking immediate action, Deborah, that led to this, you know, new role. So, you know, I taught you in session one, the I am statement, right? The strategy you said was really a game changer for you. I talked to you about how to, one, figure out what you're good at, figure out what you're not good at, and figure out how to speak to what you're good at in a way that will make employers take notice, right? We did that in session one. For those of you who aren't familiar with the program, like, you go through this strategy, you submit it to me, I give you feedback, I revise it, you kind of go through it again, and we're really working to, one, help you speak to your expertise in a more meaningful way. Two, help you articulate the problem that you solve in industry. And I don't tell the mentees this when they're in the program, but another reason why I do that at the beginning of the program is because it's a confidence booster, right? You know, I'm not there to like be a cheerleader or like boost you up, but it is a confidence booster, because now you're like, oh, this is what I'm good at. Oh, I have done something of value. Oh, I did drive results. Like, it is a natural confidence booster. So, Deborah, you took that confidence booster and you turned it into a job interview, which then led to a job offer. So can you talk the girls through like how you took that statement and like what your next steps were?
I didn't even notice that. I mean, I felt it. I felt the confidence boost after I had done the I am statement, because you really, it's like, It's like that saying where when you look back, so much has changed, but by day to day, you can't really feel the difference. When you paint the full picture of all that you've done and all that you've accomplished, it really lets you know that you are desired out there in the job field. Like, you are someone that people are looking for, which is a huge, like you said, confidence booster. So yeah, when I had written that statement and I realized how much projects I closed, all of the links that I went to, the knowledge that I gained about hardware and all these things in my field that I am now an expert in, I felt the need that I had to share it. Yes, I had to share it. And I immediately started thinking about the context that I had in my LinkedIn, my job history, my past, my prior internships. And I began to reach out to them and type up the I am statement for them, and kind of, as well, you were a big proponent for customization as well, and research. So also yielding it to who I'm sending it to as well. And through that, one of my old supervisors contacted me back and said that they would love to have me for an interview. And I was able to get into the interview process, and we were talking, and I was using your interview tips and tricks as well. And through that interview, I was able to get the job. But yes, it was that I am statement that made me realize that I'm capable of far more than I believed or that I knew, and that I should be advertising that. I should be sharing that with people who need it. Yeah.
For sure. And I think that it's so beautiful. Like, you know, I taught you this strategy. I gave you a very specific targeted strategy. Deborah, do this. Talk about yourself like this. Speak to your expertise like this. But it was through your working the strategy that yielded the result, right? Like, I think sometimes people come to me and they're like, okay, Ashley, I made this investment. Now find me a job. And I'm like, my job is to give you the strategy, but you have to do the work. And you did the work, Deborah. And I always say, Mentor Me works if you work it. And honey, you worked it. You took that one strategy, that one sentence, that one construction of who you are and the problem you solved, which led to an interview, which led to a job offer. And this was a $16,000 salary increase for you, a more valued, aligned role. And it really just, like, I've seen it, you know, help you blossom. Like, you are not a timid new professional who's unsure of herself and unsure of what she brings to the table. Like, literally 2 months after you join the program, you show up so much more mature, so much more confident, so much more sure of yourself and the value that you bring. And I'm just so proud to have been a part of that. So proud to be a part of seeing your expertise really shine. And so, you know, of course, I love to talk about the money, right? I love to help, you know, talk about how I help women make more money and have more impact. And that's a big part of my work. But let's talk about the value aligned part. You know, when in our very first phone call, you told me, you know, Ashley, I care about sustainability. I care about the environment. I want a job where I can walk to work. I want a job where I can take public transportation. You know, I want to be able to contribute to the earth and its flourishing through my career, right? And I was like, that's dope. That's a tall order, and I'm gonna do my best to get you that, Deborah, right? Like, not often do mentees come to me and say, you know, I need a job where I can take public transportation. Like, that's not a common answer. Like, I need to work remote, I need a good 401k, you know, but the girls don't usually ask me for that. But you challenged me, Deborah, to really, like, help you hone in on your values. So can you talk a little bit about, you know, the value first job search that I taught you, and like how you implemented it, and then what results were in this new role?
And I gotta say, the order of the way you ordered the mentorship sessions is so intentional, because I remember that first session was all about visualizing where we want to end up, what we want to do. And that was within the first couple of questions you would ask us. What is our end goal? What are we hoping for? And that forces us to get really serious quick and to really solidify what we're looking for, what we want quick. Because I feel like, yes, when you know where you're going, you get there faster, right? So that was hard for me, right? To say all the things that I wanted, because subconsciously I also didn't really believe that I could get it, because it is, like you said, it's a little rare to want a salary increase, to want to walk to work, to want to work in the environment, to want something that is a little bit more public service, like all those different combinations of things, as well as a hybrid role. But along the way, you kept encouraging me that it can happen, it will happen, that you've seen it before. And so, yes, through that encouragement, I was able to find a job that aligns fully with every single one of my values and everything I'm looking for. It has hybrid work. I do walk to work every single day now. I work with nuclear energy, like renewable or clean energy. And I work with people that are kind, and there's no big hierarchy structure, which was another value that I was looking for. I think such an important part of this mentorship is you making us realize that our dreams, our wishes, our visions for ourselves are possible. And that they don't need to just stay in a vision board, that we can go after them, that they are out there and that they're real. Because for a long time, the reason I had stayed at my old job was because I thought it was the best best value alignment I could get. Little did I know it was not even scratching the surface.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, so beautiful, right? Like I wrote down the mission, the vision, the dreams that you have for your career are possible, right? And so many of us stay stuck in just enough, or as soon as, or at least it ain't that, right? Like we stuck in, this is as good as it gets, and we never even do the work required to get the things that we desire. Right? We desire things, we want things, but we don't do the work to get them, right? Or we're not doing the right work. We're busy, applying for hundreds of jobs and putting ourselves out there, but not actually having a strategy that's going to yield results. And so, yeah, like I love that you talked about the fact that you had these visions for what you wanted your career to look like. And I was challenging you to be clear about what you wanted. And then your clarity helped me guide you in a way that really got you results in that. But Deborah, I want to kind of talk, I want you to speak to the woman who is maybe like where you were before you start working with me. You're like, oh, I've been following her for years. I'm liking her stuff. Oh yeah, like this is totally interesting. She seems like really energetic, right? Like, you liking it, saving it. Yeah, that's cute. But never really scheduled the call, never really made the investment. Can you speak to the woman who, is watching this live or watching this on replay, who, knows about me and knows about my work, but really hasn't done the work to get the support they need? Can you speak to that woman?
I want to say, if you are enjoying the content that you're seeing, that is only a taste of the attention and the intention, the intentionality, the specificness that you get when you go through the Mentor Me program. You get so much more than that. You get someone affirming you. You get someone checking you on what you need to change, what you need to adjust, what you need to grow in. And it's beautiful because when you receive feedback that you've asked for, you are more likely to apply it as well. And you can just trust that Ashley knows what she's doing. Like, she knows what she's doing. There are stats that prove this. So yeah, I want to encourage everybody who's watching you but hasn't engaged in the Mentor Me program to take that jump, take that risk. It's not even a risk though, because it's worth it, and you will come out a more developed career woman, and a more confident career woman as well. She will point out the things you didn't even know you were doing.
Thank you for speaking to her. I know she's listening. I know she's gonna get so much out of that. And I'm just so honored to have served you, Deborah. I'm so honored to see you glow up, to see you advance your career. I know now that you've moved since you started in the new job. Is that right? New job, new house. We love to see it. It's an elevation. And those are the things I love to talk about. Because like I said, I love to scream about, the salary increases. But, Patricia told me she scheduled a vacation, like a real vacation, like paid for it and scheduled it for the first time yesterday, right? Tremaine is like got new wigs, you got a new house, right? Like this is what I'm talking about. It's total transformation. Why? Because money and confidence enables us to do so much more in our lives, right? The freedom in your job, being able to walk to work, saves you money in gas and the environment, right? And, smog air, right? Like there's just so much power in prioritizing your career advancement and prioritizing growth and development as a professional. So thank you for being such a beautiful possibility model, right? That's what you are. You're a possibility model of what is available to women who invest in themselves, invest in their career development, and really take action to advance their lives and career. You are a beautiful positive example of that. So thank you so much for being here. Is there anything you want to close with, Deborah? Anything you want to share publicly?
I
Any
just want
closing
to
thoughts?
affirm what you just said. The fact that changing how you show up in your career changes your entire life. Realizing that you deserve more in your career, makes you realize that you deserve more everywhere. And this is something that we do 40 hours a week, every week. It plays such a huge role in how we show up in the world, our mood, our mental health. So it is very important that we all take the steps to have a job that aligns with who we are and our authenticity and how we want to show up in the world. So yeah, I just wanted to double down on that because it was so true. But yeah, that's all I had for today.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Yes, showing up in your career can have widespread implications across the rest of your life, and your testimony, right? Your testimonial is a beautiful example of that. Thank you, Deborah, so much for sharing your expertise. If you are looking to make more money and have more impact in your career, I want to share with you that I'm accepting new mentees for my May cohort. If it's a priority for you to find and secure a new job, the time for you to join Mentor Me programs is right now. So if you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a new job now is the time to join, because we have to do the work. So join now. You can do so right on my website at mentor-me.org. That's mentor-me.org. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, Deborah.